Welcome to the Live Bright Show, the pod for badass service-based entrepreneurs who are creating businesses and lives that are fun, successful, and free. And now your host, seven-figure business owner, coach, and founder of the Live Bright movement, here to help you own your potential, Molly Moran.
What's up, my friends? Welcome to the Live Bright Show. Today, I've got Brenda Schmidt. Brenda is the founder of Kick-Ass Modern Mom, which helps entrepreneurial families build household outsourcing and family systems. She is also the host of the Kick-Ass Modern Mom podcast. She has helped her husband successfully build several businesses. She's a former career in financial services. She's a volunteer at the Junior League of Tucson. She's a devoted mom of three, spouse of Mike, and just a kick-ass person who is going to be perfect for this show. Welcome to the show, Brenda. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks so much for having me, Molly. I'm so excited about this.
Yes. And I'd like to note that Brenda is one of the people who told me to do a podcast. She told me a little bit more explicitly than that, but she was part of the impetus for this podcast. So I'm excited that you're on the show. How's your day going so far?
It's awesome.
It's awesome. Okay. All right, good. We're going to have some fun. I'd like to kind of get right into it because you have several years of sort of playing, I don't want to put words in your mouth or whatever, but like background support to building your husband's businesses, right? And how many of those have there been?
Well, like 3 officially, but in every entrepreneur journey, there's like 200 failures in between all things.
We're going to get to that. All right. So you helped there, and then you have taken the entrepreneurial plunge yourself with the Kick-Ass Modern Mom. So I'd love if you would share with us a little bit about what it is and what made you decide to take that plunge yourself.
Yeah, I knew that I always wanted to start my own business. I mean, I was helping Mike with his businesses for so many years and still do. And I would just feel like, I want something that's my own. I want something that like I get to serve my people and be really involved in what that looks like and architect it my own way. But I never really knew. I'm like, what is my thing? Like, I love personal development. I love adventure. I love being a mom and like hacks for how to be a mom better, all these things. And so actually many years ago, I had started a mom blog, talking about all the cool, fun adventures that I go on with my kids. Because that was something that a lot of people loved seeing me always post about on Facebook. This was like before the Instagram days. I would always be posting all the cool things I was doing with my kids. And so like with my firstborn, Lily, I would call it Lily's Local Adventures. And we would go and tour our own city as if we were a tourist in our own city. And we would document all these adventures and post them, and everybody would follow along, and it was fun. And so early on, I started this blog where I would share about all the cool things you can do with your kids, like recipes you can make and travel and how to travel on points and all the little hacks around like adventures to do with your kids. The funny thing was that a lot of people would ask, they would be like, yeah, but like, how do you have so much time and energy to go and do all that stuff? And I kept saying like, I don't know, like, you just go do it. You just go do it. And then I said, like, oh, wait, actually, I do have things in place to give me more time and energy to go do that. I outsource in my house and I systemize in my house. And so sometimes you don't realize the thing that you're actually really good at to make the other thing possible that you're also really good at. And so I did not realize just how much of a nerd I was about outsourcing and systems in my own household. Like, I run my house like a business, and there's lots of structure there so that it provides me with the freedom to go and do all the cool, fun stuff and get to actually just be a giant kid myself in my life. And so it was kind of funny because the thing I thought I was starting out as a business was to help people to figure out cool adventures to do with your kids. They were like, yeah, we already know the cool adventures we want to do with our kids. We just don't have the time to do them or the energy to do them. Like, tell us how to do that. And so that was when I was like, oh, that's the thing people actually need. And so that's how Kick-Ass Modern Mom was born. It's all about helping families to outsource and systemize in their households. And so hiring help within their households, delegating, creating automations and systems, and just making it a well-oiled machine so that you're not bogged down by all your household responsibilities when you actually want to be going and doing adventures with your kids. So that's how my business was born out of this. And it was like the thing that you don't even realize that you're good at until you keep having to tell people how to do it themselves, right? And then you see like, oh, the thing that's really easy for me, like obviously there's parts of it that were hard, but it was definitely easier for me than for a lot of people. And I thought that, oh, this is easy. This is what all entrepreneur families do. Because like, how else would you do it? Like, this is just how you have to do it. But then the more entrepreneur families that I would talk to, we'd go to these conferences. Mike was in all these high-level masterminds, and we're like hanging out with these high-level families, and they are struggling in their households. And I was like, wait, like, your business is doing how many figures? And then your house, like, you
Is a
can't.
mess.
Yeah. Oh my, or their personal life or their marriage or their kids, like they're like having strained relationships with their kids or whatever it is. They're just having a lot of problems on the personal side. And I was like, will you just take the same stuff that you read about in the business books, but you like put it through the lens of your household brain and like filter it and apply it to your household? It's like, there's not really books that exist to tell you how to do this yet. I would just like for all the webinars I would attend that tells you how to hire staff in your company and how to begin outsourcing and how to know what things to hand off first. I was like, okay, noted, doing that in my house. And for every book I would read, you know, like reading Gary Vee and Pat Flynn, right? Pat Flynn, Will It Fly? Where it's like talking about how to build your business and test things out. And I'm like, okay, noted, applying that to my house. And so all these things are like Tim Ferriss, the 4-hour work week. How can I 4-hour work week my house? And so all these things that people read for business purposes, I've been reading and then distilling into the household over the years. And I didn't realize how much I nerded out on this and that it actually was a little bit easier for me than other people until you talk to other people and you keep saying the same thing to them, like, but just do that, but just do that, but just do that. And so then that's when I realized I was like, oh, this is my gift. This is my thing that I can help other families with. So that's how Kick-Ass Modern Mom was created, was to help us do this also.
I love that. I love that. And so, and Kick-Ass Modern Mom is actually, it's kind of a big business. You've got a podcast, you've got one-on-one coaching, you have classes that you offer, and I think you've got retreats coming up for moms as well. How are you managing all of it, Brenda? Like, this is massive, and you have 3 kids under the age of 13. Is that right?
Yeah. My kids are 12, 9, and 5.
12, 9, and 5. So, and you also have an entrepreneurial husband who has a very busy life. So what systems, like what self-management tools are you using to make sure you're doing all of this and moving forward?
I am very structured with my time and my calendar. Yeah. And honestly, we are really big on saying no to stuff. My previous self used to say yes to a lot of things because I don't know, Enneagram 7 or whatever. It's like, you don't want to miss out on anything. I just love life and I love people and I just love experiences. To the point where then I would end up being like, oh, but we got to do that and we got to do that. And this amazing thing is happening downtown and this other amazing thing is happening at the pumpkin patch. But I've learned over the years, like, it is not sustainable to participate in everything. Like, just pick something. So even with the kids, like, we are really very actually strict on not overscheduling our kids. I am not the soccer, baseball, gymnastics, ballet mom that is running around ragged taking my kids to a million different activities. They get to pick. I'm like, you guys can do some extracurricular activities, but pick one focus. And we're going to do that for like the next 7 or 8 weeks. And then if you like it and you want to continue it, then we can renew that. Or if you want to try a new thing and see how your hand is at something else. And so my kids will never be the like 13-year-olds that are having to get shoulder surgery for being in baseball for their whole life. Tiny mini athletes like competing in the Olympics or anything. They are not going to be those overstructured kids that it's like a career move for them for some of these activities. We are very against that. I don't think it's good for their bodies. I don't think it's good for their brains. I don't think it's good for me as a mom and for our schedule. We just value different things as a family. For us, we are very entrepreneurial. And so we want to have the space to, if we get an idea for a family business or our kids have an idea for a little business of their own, we want to have the space and the time that they can explore that. And so overscheduling our life isn't going to allow for that. My husband is also in a rock band. And then come Christmas time, he's in a brass caroling band also. And so like we do have lots of really fun hobbies and extracurriculars that ourselves as adults do, but everything goes on the calendar. We have multiple shared calendars that we use to keep track of everything. I am not the only person in charge of all this stuff. I put my kids in charge of managing their own schedules and their own calendars. Like, if there's things that they want to stay after school and go to, it has to be communicated to us ahead of time so that the accommodations can be made so that they can stay. They can't call us the day of from the office phone and say, hey, mom, I'm staying after school today. Like, nope, sorry, that doesn't fit into the schedule because that affects everybody else. And so we have boundaries in place and we say no to a lot of stuff. And then the stuff that we do say yes to, it goes in a calendar so that we can keep track of it. And so systems wise, that's how we accomplish it. But then like I was talking about the outsourcing, that's really the magic. That's where all the magic happens, is bringing in other people to support you so that the stuff we do say yes to, we can actually go do it because I don't have to do laundry.
Right. Yeah, let's talk about the magic. I love everything you just said. And, I think that people listening are going to be like, oh, wow. Like if you go to Kick-Ass Modern Mom, you sign up with Brenda, like sounds like you're going to get like parenting philosophy, all kinds of things too. That might not, it's not necessarily typical, which I love. And I love that you're carving out this space for your kids to be kids. It's kind of like how it was like back in the day when you actually got bored. It's a life skill like that to build off
all the time.
Yeah. 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 I love that. So let's talk about the magic of what you're saying in terms of household outsourcing. And so first of all, I think people might listen to that. And I own a cleaning company. And so of course I believe in this and I try to outsource several things in my life at home, but it's hard to take a total space for a lot of people. If somebody's just thinking, yeah, I want more help, like where do they even start? Let's just start with that. Where do they start? Okay, yeah, you can hire a house cleaning service. You can hire somebody to do your lawn, whatever. But talk us through this more, Brenda, with what you're doing, because you have created this life that is very full and seemingly, at least full of fun, really fun stuff. And you're building a big business and your husband's got a big business and you've got 3 kids. And so how does somebody start along this path? Like, what would you recommend?
Yeah. The first thing that everybody always wants to ask is, who do I hire and where do I find them and how much do I pay them? Right? Like they want to get straight to the how can I solve my problem with a person in my house or a couple people in my house? And so they immediately want to know, where do I go for these people? Who are they? What do I need to hire? And I will always go, okay, well, before we get to that, let's take a step backwards. And the most important part is let's figure out what your family values are. And I actually work with single people also and men who are just single business guys that need help with this.
I was gonna ask this because I don't have kids, but I'm help me systematize my house.
Yeah. So yeah, it's funny because it started out helping moms. And then as I've gone along, there's been a lot of people who are like, well, I'm not a mom. Actually, I'm not even a parent, but I need this. And I'm like, I can help you. And so it's interesting because now I'm like, well, does the name Kick-Ass Modern Mom exclude people? But whatever. We'll figure it out. But what I tell people is take a step back for a minute, right? It's if you have a business and it's everything I tell people for their household is just follow the formula of business and just reapply it, rinse and repeat. And so when you feel lost, how to go about things in your house, how does a business do it, right? Read a business book, listen to a business podcast, listen to a business coach, and apply that to your household. And so what do they say if you're going to start a business or you're bringing on team members for a business, right? What is your company mission statement? What's your company vision? What is your company culture? So that way, when you bring people on, people are going to be part of that culture and that you get long-term people who see the vision of the company and they're helping it get there. Same thing in your household. And so when you have just one-off transactional people coming in your household, they can provide some relief just like those one-off transactional people in a business would. So that could be a good starting point for some people, but for some other people, they might be ready to actually layer on bigger support. And that's where they need to get clear. What is your family vision? What's your family mission statement? What's your family culture? Who are you as a family? What are your big goals and dreams in the world? Do you want to go build schools in Africa? Do you want to travel the world? Are you first class travelers? Are you we're going to go back and live on a homestead and do beekeeping? What is your vision for your family? And set that big overarching goal and clearly define it. Sit down with your family, have a family meeting, ask your kids, what are we all about? How would people describe us? What would they say our thing is? What are we the family of? Oh, they're the athlete family. Oh, they're the entrepreneur family. Oh, they're the traveling family. They're the adventurers. What are they, right? And so for us, we are major, major adventurers, professional fun havers. And so it's very important to us that we surround ourselves by people who understand that that's our goal and they're not going to judge us for it and they're not going to prevent it from happening. And so we have had people that we hired in our house before who did not, they were just they would say comments I don't even understand why why you guys even travel so much. Like, why do you even have this nice house if you're never even home? And I'm like, well, I like going to nice places, but I like living like I'm on vacation when I'm at home also. Find somebody who's a better culture fit. And so this is where people will ask, like, where do you start? Where do you find the people? How do you go about it? I'll say, pause that for a second. First, go back, figure out who you are, right? Just like in business, like, don't start adding employees until you know exactly where the company is going. And so the same in your household. Know where your family is going, what your family goals are. If there's things you don't like about your family currently, like if you and your spouse have a lot of tension, or if you and a teenager and one of your kids, whatever that is, if you don't have kids, if you're a single person and the tension is that you are single and you don't want to be single anymore, if that is like a obstacle or a tension point for you that you're like, I can't find love, right? Then that's going to be one of your major goals. I can find a companion. And so being very clear on that before you even layer on the help is what I'm like, when anybody goes through my programs, anybody does my coaching, they're like, cool, I signed up. Now what do I post in my ad? I started writing my ad. Can you look it over for me and tell me if that's good? I'm like, cool, I will get there. Let's go back a step. Let's talk about your family values. And so if people don't want to do that, they're like, but I just want to hire someone. I just want to post this.
Right.
I agree. I want you to post the ad. But if you post the ad and you don't do this other step, you're going to hire somebody who is not aligned. And then you're going to get frustrated. They're going to be with you a short period of time. You're going to go back to the drawing board and have to restart all over again. I just had to fire my own house manager when we got back from our recent fall break trip because I ignored all the red flags of this person not being a good fit in our household. And I've been so busy serving all the other families and recruiting house managers for them and telling them, oh, that trial isn't going well. You should let go of that person. But I would not let go of this person that was trying. It was like a 2-month-long trial. It should have been a 2-week long,
Yeah.
And I just like kept like letting things slide because here I am like trying to serve everybody else and I'm not listening to my own advice. So for me, it's like, but how we do that, right? I would totally be like telling them to do this other thing. So this was one of those situations for me where I was like, I would tell my clients to not be tolerating this person. And here I am like, following my own advice. The person we had, they were not all the way to the level that we need, especially for how quickly my business is growing and how just exponentially things are multiplying around here. We need somebody who can be on a fast growth path with us. And that person was not a growth-minded, abundance-minded kind of a person.
Right.
I definitely need somebody, because this is like my right-hand man in my house, right? They're like my wing, my mom clone. And so I need my mom clone to actually be my clone, not to be like dragging me down and like bringing their own chaos and stuff like that. So
how do you navigate integrating? Because it's real personal. Like, our business is one thing. So I'm like, oh, and everything you said makes so much sense. And I love that from a household manager kind of perspective too. But it's so personal. It is your home. They are all of a sudden in there. It's like you're building a relationship with them. And I would think it would be very intimate, right? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, they're like touching your underwear and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can tell them not to, but this is another place that it's like, look to what the business world does, right? And so one of the most intimate and personal places is social media. The content we produce on social media is really giving people a view into our personal lives and us as a person more than ever has happened before. Now, we can pump out content and reels and post it on social media that people are getting to know us at a much faster rate. And so when we do this for our business, when we go about creating content, what attracts our ideal client to us on social media? Being authentic and sharing more of ourselves, right? Like we don't keep saying, hey, everybody out there in social media land, here's all the people who I want to follow me. If you're like this type of person, that person, you're into this, you're into that, then come follow me, right? We don't say that to get them to come to us. We just be ourselves and tell a lot about ourselves. So we're like, hey, this is what I am. If you're on board with like waking up at 5 a.m. and having this really extensive morning routine, cool, you're my people. And so we broadcast the thing that we're really into, and it attracts the people who are like-minded. The exact same when you're finding people to have that kind of personal relationship with you in your own house, that kind of intimate environment like you're saying. And so what I tell my clients to do is make a job posting ad that tells very, very little about the things they're going to do for you. And the majority of it is going to be telling who you are as a family, who you are as a person. broadcast as if you're making a reel, right? But it's like written form. It's basically like a sales letter. Here is everything my family is about, even the controversial stuff, so that it repels the people who are not a good fit and it attracts the people who are a good fit. And so on my current posting, like right before this, I was interviewing a house manager candidate, and I reworked our job posting, and it already says in there like a lot of the things about us. But our last person, she was very like, she was not on board with all of our wellness and nutrition choices. Like she herself was just like not on that same journey. So I realized, I'm like, this needs to be a bigger part of the us broadcasting who we are, because it is such a major part. Like I'm like straight up herbalism. Like I like, teas and essential oils and all this.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
and in, saying that we're adventurers and we're entrepreneurs and that we're busy and all these other things in our ad is great, because then it gets that part of it handled. But then I need to be more broadcasting of all this other aspect. And so I put in there that we are sober biohackers. And then I put wellness and nutrition focused. And so I feel like sober biohacker, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah.
That if somebody is not if somebody doesn't think like that, they're going to be like, those are those crazy kind of people.
She's got like a witch's kettle, like she's stirring shit.
Or like if they're the type of person that they're like, oh, great. Like, what's this lady going to think of my lifestyle? Right. And so I'm like,
right.
Well, cool. Go work for them.
Right.
We're aligned with you. And so
Right.
the girl who I just interviewed is totally, she's like fellow biohacker. Like her, she's like, wake up at 5 a.m., have a whole morning routine, circadian rhythm, blue light glasses, all the stuff that we do. Right. And so
Yep.
I'm like, and I asked her about, what is your understanding of this role? And she was explaining that. And then, she was like, well, from your ad and from the things that you posted on your profile, she's like, I was just so drawn because this seemed like a perfect job, but also you guys feel like such great people to work with, because it said sober biohacker. When we say stuff like that, then we find our people, just like on social media, right? So it's like, we're doing it in business, do it in our personal life, like do it in our house. And so, and it's funny, like it's like when our kids were really little and we're at the park and we're like the two kids are playing together, and I would call it the parent pickup, where you're like, oh, our kids are the same ages. Maybe we can be parent friends with those parents. And so you're like trying to meet other like-minded people. And so it's like, I would just immediately just kind of like say things kind of
To see. Yeah.
to like test the waters to see like what type of parent they were. Like, are they like helicopter parent, or are they like let your kids eat dirt like I am? And so I would like say little things to kind of test out to see like, ooh, parent pickup. Are they like a good fit for us? And so the same thing is like when we interview people for our household, we can tactfully say it, but we can say things that we have strong opinions about, because we don't have to say, I won't hire you if you don't have this opinion, because you technically are not allowed to say that. But what you can say is like your strong opinion, and then that person is going to be like not answering your calls after that. Right. And so
right.
separate them out. And then the people who like you say whatever your strong opinion is, if they agree with it, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, yes. And then this, and then this.
Right. Right.
They're going to tell you all the stories that relate to that and how they're also like that. And then when you're working together in your house, it just accelerates your relationships because you already got all of that out of the way. Right. So it's like dating your household help. It's like get to the messy stuff as quickly as possible so you can really get to know that person, because then you have that level of comfort to let them go and fold your underwear for you.
Right.
Hey friend, a quick break to ask you to please go to livebrightshow.com to be added to my email list. Here's the thing. I hate email, so I pretty much guarantee you're not going to receive anything excessive. Only important things like when I have new options in my coaching program, offer free challenges, new courses, release a new pod, or perhaps an occasional biz life tip. That's livebrightshow.com. Now back to the pod.
So tell me, what can people expect? I mean, as getting a house manager, what kind of things can they take over for you? I'm thinking it could be anything you want, but
yeah.
How do you structure that? And what kind of people are typically attracted to the house manager position?
Well, it's interesting. I think it's like my previous self when I worked at a corporate job who felt like my talents weren't totally being tapped into. That's exactly who makes amazing ones. And because of the pandemic, there's a lot of people now who are like, I don't want to go work at a corporate job because I'm just going to sit home on a computer all day and I don't even get to interact with people, or I don't even get to use all my skill sets that I think I could use. And so there's a lot of people now looking for alternative work that are highly skilled. Like they have master's degrees and much rather get to solve problems in an entrepreneur family than go and like sit at a desk and be on Zoom meetings all day. And so, so there's like, you can find kids who are still in college. You can find kids who are not kids. I call them all kids. I'm old. But yeah, or even so like amazing people that can support families. So if it's people with kids, it's people who don't have kids that can support them. And so either college kids who are not yet married, or maybe they just got married, but they haven't had their own kids, or it's even like the empty nesters. Those also make great supportive roles. And they also have been really good at figuring out all their organization systems over the years. And so they've gotten really efficient at it because they've probably done it for their own kids over the years. And then now they can like bring that expertise. And so those two categories are some of my favorite categories to find really good quality people in either in college or fresh out of college. There are some that are, but there's also some kids who are like, there's problems and I'm going to change them type of people, which is awesome. And then you're like, cool, come start in my house. And we're the type of family that like we have been in all these different mastermind circles and we are very well connected that for some of the house managers, they end up then working in our businesses. They like move into those roles, into greater roles and really serve on a bigger level in the businesses. There's other ones who, which I think I've told you about this, like our former house manager that we had for almost 2 years, it was her goal to work for the Olympics. And so we were doing everything in our power to like find our connections to make that possible for her. She's like, I'm not an athlete, but it's always been my dream since I was a little girl to work for the Olympics. She's like first generation citizen. So like her family just like American dreams, the Olympics, Team America. They're like flag. Yeah. She is just like, oh my gosh, like ever since I was a kid, I just saw that as like the thing, right? Like my family moved to this country and then I'm going to go and work for that place. Like I'm going to be on the Olympic committee. And so while she was working for us this whole time, I was trying to get her position, like the volunteer position in Paris. And we didn't get it for her. But then there's the LA 2028 games that have some internships. And so I'm like, oh, look, there's another one. Okay, it's gone. Okay, look, there's another one. And so I'm doing things to try and help her get her closer to her dreams as well. And so when she left, she actually went to go work for the Atlanta Games, which is the qualifying games to then go into the Olympics. So she is just one of those goal-driven people. And then what she did is then she took all those, like I set everybody up on Voxer in my house. Same tools, like Google Calendars, shared Google Drive, Trello boards, Voxer, all the things that you use in business. I set my household staff up on all of those. Are you tech savvy? Yes. Great. Here you go. Are you tech savvy? A little bit. Cool. I'm going to teach you. This is where you need to be. Everything is hyper communication around here. Lots of touch points, lots of places to find information. She took all of that to her internship and implemented it with all the interns. She set everybody up on Voxer so they could all communicate. She like set up Trello boards and shared Google Drives and all this stuff to get information. And she had learned that from our household. And so like, the cool thing is like there's these amazing college kids or fresh out of college kids that can get really cool skill sets by doing this kind of stuff in our households for us. And because, especially for entrepreneur households, we have the connections to help them go where they want to go. Right. Move into our companies with us too, which is like so amazing that you get like these amazing people that you're like, cool, now you know our culture, like do more.
Here.
Yeah.
I love it. And what I hear you saying is that it's not a one-way relationship. Obviously, you're investing back into the folks that come and work for you or with you in your house. And so that creates a much more symbiotic relationship that then they want to invest in you more too. And it's the same thing like we would do with our employees in a regular old business, right? The more you deliver for employees in a business, the more they want to over deliver for you as their boss. And the same in a household. Exactly. So like every time we were out and about and there was something that made us think of her, we'd pick it up and bring it home. If I was getting flowers for myself at Costco, I would get 2 of them, one for myself, one for her, stuff like that. No. And so actually you told me about in March, the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. Yes.
But now that's part of my course, part of my program is I tell the families, you need to read this book. And it's slightly different than the 5 love languages in how it happens, like how it plays out. And so now I'm like read this and understand what your person's appreciation language is. And
I love that. Yeah, it's so true.
It is because it's like I know now I think for people who are drawn to a house manager role, they are probably very strong acts of service people. And they also might have a secondary of words of affirmation. And so as long as you are also doing acts of service for them, which is, it feels kind of funny. They'll be like, they're supposed to come and do your laundry and do your dishes and like organize your closets and manage your handyman. Like how are you supposed to do something back for them? Well, I would have a special tea mug that I would have for my house manager and put out her favorite tea. So when she would arrive, it's ready for her to make tea. Little things like that, right? That doesn't take me as much time as doing my own laundry. Like she's doing mine.
Right.
But I can do little tiny acts of service for her to let her know I appreciate her. Or like words of affirmation go a long, long way and multiple versions. And so saying it in person, writing little notes and leaving it for them, having your kids also say the thing to them, because you could say it a million times as their boss, but if not ever acknowledging them, like sometimes it doesn't feel as good. So yeah, so like having them hear appreciation from lots of different ways, or yeah, like, you know, if we're on a trip and we, you know, like if they're back home watching our dogs in our house for us, while we're on a trip, it's like including them in our trip. Like, you know, what crazy thing the kids just did. Like we thought you right. And so just kind of like making them feel like part of your family in multiple ways goes such a long way. And, I didn't answer your question about like all the things they can do. You get to create what this person can do, like clone yourself basically. So I am a loop opener. I'm a fast starter. I will like start projects, but then as soon as I'm like on to the next project and I'm like, cool, I'll come back to that one. And sometimes I don't come back to it. And so I find myself loop closers. And so in my business and in my household staff, I need to have loop closers for myself. So that way they can come in and be like, so this looks like you started some kind of bookshelf project. I'm just going to finish it for you.
So yeah, in my case, it would definitely be somebody who's better at it than me. So I'm like, oh, household stuff is not my forte at all.
Yeah. And families that I have worked with where they're like, we hate cooking and all we do is just order takeout or get those pre-made box meals or whatever. But it's still such a chore because we feel like we're always hunting down our food because we're not making it ourselves. And so we just have to keep finding it. And they're like, we don't want to have to keep hunting down our food. We want somebody to just provide it for us. And I was like, make sure that's a high priority for the person coming into your house. So sometimes it's like the thing that you have a weakness around that you're like, the strength in this area.
That's great. So is it, and God, Brenda, of course, I could talk to you all day. I'm trying to be mindful of our time. Let me ask you, is it a full-time position typically when people are hiring for a house manager or? Okay.
No. And this is the funny thing is like, because people hear the word house manager and they think of all the things this person can help them with. And they immediately think it's like Mr. Belvedere. Like he like lives in some random room that he's just always there. And it's like the full-time butler that's going to cost you $100,000 a year. No, it is not that. 15 hours a week and you will feel like you're on vacation in your own home. And probably 10 hours a week for a lot of people, like especially if you don't have kids and you don't have a lot of laundry. Maybe even hours a week, right? Like, and I will say multiple touches, you will feel more support. So just like you probably know with your cleaning company, the people who set them up on a more regular frequency are going to feel more relief. So the same thing, you have a house manager coming into your house, the more often they come, the more supported you feel, the more relief you feel, because there's not all that in-between area where you're like waiting for them to come back. Like right now, while I'm in between house managers, my kitchen is a disaster. I'm ignoring it though. I'm not even going to handle it because that is actually not my job. Like I have already handed that off. And while there's nobody doing it this week, I'm not taking that back on because I've already moved it off my plate. I'm not putting it back on my plate. So go to paper plates and plastic forks until somebody else is going to come in and handle that for us. And
I could probably recommend a cleaning company for you if you need one over there in Tucson. I have a few friends.
or the next time my mother-in-law is over here, like stopping by, she'll be like, it bothers me, and she'll fix it. Or if Mike gets bothered by it enough, then he'll do like angry dishes. So we'll just wait for like the angry burst to get it done. But I'm not gonna let it like take over my calendar. I got a full calendar. And I take back on the stuff that I already said is not my responsibility. And the same in the business, right? So it's like every time we have these transitions where we'd handed stuff off and then all of a sudden like, oh wait, it's creeping back in. If we say yes and start doing it again, that's when we feel so underwater and like just overwhelmed. And so it's like, this weekend, we got fun stuff coming up. If I start taking on all this other extra stuff in my own household on just me, and it's not distributed evenly to everybody else, then I will not be fun mom by the weekend, and I won't be able to go do all the fun adventures. So I told the kids, so on Sunday, whenever I fired my house manager, I had, hey, family meeting, everybody, powwow. I said, everybody's laundry needs to be done. The house manager was coming here for, we had just increased her hours to 18 hours a week because she couldn't get stuff done in the 15 hours. Every other person before her was like getting things done in 12 hours. And like, she's just like on her phone all the time.
Kids these days. I said kids these days, but you know, I'm kidding.
And so I had like increased her hours to 18 hours. So I'm paying more money because of her lack of time management skills, which I would never advise one of my clients to do that. This is like one where I would have been like, no, they need to get it done in the hours you set. Like you need to like just make like communicate the expectation, and they need to meet these expectations. And so it's like totally like if I do it myself, I can do it. If I'm actually focused, I can get it done really quickly. But then my squirrel brain will be like, oh, wait, I got to put something away. That doesn't go there and that doesn't go there.
Right.
It takes me all Saturday to do this. So there's no way somebody can get this done in 5 hours. Like if it's like I'm doing it throughout the week and all day Saturday and it's still not done, there's no way somebody else can get it all done in that time. But they can because they're in their zone of genius. And we're doing things we don't like doing. So we will keep finding distractions on purpose to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's longer. Or we're like, I swear I like doing laundry because you have to do it. Whereas then you bring in the person who like, actually it's meditative to them. It's like cathartic. Like they go into Zen mode when they're folding laundry and putting it away. Like they love it. You bring those people in and they do it so fast, like time changes, right?
I think I might need one of, I think I might, I'm the person that does laundry. And then, I mean, I outsource cleaning, obviously, but I do my own laundry and then it sits for days until I finally will move it from the laundry.
Graveyard, I call it. All my clients have a laundry basket graveyard. It's like you put it in the washer and most of the time you remember to switch it over to the dryer before it starts getting kind of funky smelling. Otherwise you have to rewash it like another time and then switch it over. And then it comes out and it goes in the laundry basket. And then it waits and waits and waits. Folded and put away. And then usually just like keep pulling stuff out of the laundry basket until it goes down like halfway. And then you have to start the whole thing over again. Yeah. And
it feels bad the entire time.
And where do these laundry basket graveyards live? Usually in your bedroom. Usually that basket sits in your bedroom and it confronts you and makes you feel like a failure. And you can have the biggest wins in your business. You can do amazing things in your business and have the biggest wins. And you want to come home and tell your spouse about it. And you're laying in your bed together talking about your business wins with this failure. And this is the room, like these things live in places that are supposed to be recharging us. They're supposed to be a place of refuge that we are like, cool, all these crazy cool things that we're doing with the business or we're traveling or whatever it is. And then you come to this bedroom that's supposed to be your recharge space. That's supposed to comfort you and make you feel like, let me hold you. But instead, it's like punching you like, you're still not done with all this stuff. And you don't notice this is happening to your brain, but then you start feeling like you're a failure in your business when you're not. It's just that you need more support in your household. And so I'm like, get rid of the laundry basket graveyards. Let somebody else handle them. The same with the cooking. Like if there's science projects going on in your refrigerator that you don't even want to open it and you just want to get takeout or go to a restaurant instead because you're not confronted by that failure either, hand that off. If it is all piled up in your backyard that you can't even go hang out in your backyard and enjoy your backyard because it stinks like poop and you feel like you're going to step in it the whole time, hand that off. All these things are in places that we're supposed to feel nourished and recharged and be filling our cup. They're things that are punching us in the face every time we turn around in our house. And especially now that everybody works from home, so they're in there, and like before, it used to be like outer order, inner calm. You got to leave the mess to go to this office that somebody was cleaning. There was like assigned to that office. Your people, right? Your company was for that those spaces, and there's plants all around, and they're getting watered. And then what do we do now? We're like, oh well, I want to make my office look like my corporate office used to, or like the place I used to go to work. I want my home to look like that. So then we get ourselves plants, and then they die, and then we feel like a failure. And then we like decor, but we don't finish setting it up. And then we're like, Well, it's just like instead of the whole outer order inner calm, we have all this chaos constantly that we're trying to create from and like go big places in our business, but it's draining us and it's sucking the life out of us. And we're having to keep like summon the energy to do big things in our business while all these things are trying to attack us. And it shouldn't be that way, because in your office that you used to go to, all that was handled by other people. You weren't the one watering all the plants. You weren't the one like vacuuming the floor at your cubicle. Don't be the one doing it at your office that you're in now, which is your house. So
I love that you're saying that. It's interesting because like my home office, which I leave, I have an office separate, a whole separate office from my cleaning company actually as well for coaching and podcasting and everything. And I have a home office, but my home office, I can't even work at the desk. It is like, I have a problem with paper. That is my biggest issue is freaking paper. And so if I want to sit down on my computer at home, like I can't do it at the office. I do it at the dining room table or in the library. And my spouse is like, you make every other space in the house your office and you leave trails of it like literally everywhere. And it's because I don't want to confront my home, the paper piles, So this is really, this really resonates, Brenda.
And so this would be something then that like when I work with a family, besides like what your family values are, which I know like you guys, travel is a big one for you guys, experiences. But then going the next step to then figure out what the things are in your house that you need highest priority is you would need somebody that's really good at organizing papers. You would want somebody who's like really, really skilled at like scanning them, putting them in like little files, because you might be just like a very visual person that you feel like as soon as they're digitized, they're gone. And so if you have somebody that is good at creating a cool system for that, where then they're all categorized and there's folders, it's in Dropbox or like Google Drive or somewhere. Like Google Drive, you just search, right? And so there are apps where it scans the paper and all the words that are on the paper then become searchable things. And so then go and like, where's that thing that talked about this? And you just start doing searches and it can find your stuff for you. So you would want somebody who's good at that. And so that might be somebody who is like the corporate dropout and they came from where that was a thing that they did and they get to bring that skill set now to your environment. And so there's so many cool people that have all this kind of skill sets that they've gotten from jobs that they hated, but they did like they got all the experience from places that they hated working, but now they get to use that experience in a fun way that they feel empowered to be like, ooh, I'm in charge of this. Ooh, I get to take the lead in this.
Oh, this is so exciting to think about. I'm like shivering back then, like this exists, like this can help me. I need it at home. I actually need it at my other office too. I'm like, yeah, paper is like my nemesis. I hate it, but I am one of those. That's amazing.
So
Thank you.
We would be making sure that we would put an ad that would say, that you are a very high level, abundance-minded entrepreneur who is looking for somebody who has a lot of experience with managing paperwork and digitizing and creating systems around digital solutions with stuff, in addition to doing your laundry. But laundry is one of those things that's easy to train, right? It's like you find the person who's really good at papers probably also likes doing laundry. That's okay. Because that's how their brain works, right? And so they're like the person who like, I mean, maybe they don't like the folding it, but they're the person that's going to love when they put it away, making it all like bento box in your drawer, because they're also bento boxing your papers for you, right? So it's like,
okay.
So you start to understand how people's brains work and you realize the overlaps in all these areas. So that would be the type of person that we'd be looking for you.
Okay. Thank you. This is amazing. Where can people find you, Brenda? Because you've got so many tips and tricks about how to manage your house. So where can people find the Kick-Ass Modern Mom?
On all the socials, I am Kick-Ass Modern Mom. Instagram is the primary place that you'll see all my freshest stuff until I get the systems in place to have it ripple out to TikTok and YouTube and everywhere else. Or if you're listening in the future and it's already there, hooray. My podcast is on podcast places like Spotify and regular podcast places, Apple soon. It is the Kick-Ass Modern Mom podcast. I have a free school community for any entrepreneur families, whether you have kids or not, or even if you are not even married yet, but you're like, I know I will have a family and I want to know how to do all this kind of stuff. You can come over to the school app or the school website, the platform, and it's Kick-Ass Modern Mom Community over on school. And it's a free place. And it's mostly also, I want to make it a place of networking because we know so many families. Like we were saying before we went live here, I am a people collector. I know a person who could do just about anything. I'm so curious and I love learning about people. And so I love connecting people to each other. And so there's been some really cool connections that I've already put people in touch with each other this year. And then cool collaborations happening from those. And so because I love doing that so much, I love matchmaking in the household, but I also love matchmaking people with other business people. Like I even nerd out on this with Mike's businesses, with like moving his team around, utilize their strengths better and stuff like that. And so I just love learning from people and then connecting them where they need to go. So come on over to the school community there. I also have for moms, I have a free Facebook community. That's also Kick-Ass Modern Mom community. That's primarily moms. I mean, non-moms can come in there too, but it's mostly moms. And so there is some like kid talk and stuff like that. And so if that's triggering to anybody because they're not a mom, go to the school one instead. And
awesome. And we'll put it all in the show notes too, but that's awesome. You can find Brenda. Brenda is everywhere. You've got really good tools out there on your website. You've got checklists that people can download for free on your website to start sort of building their house manager profile and that sort of thing. So that's great. This has been awesome talking with you. I'd love to wrap up with a couple of like rapid fire questions if you're up for it. The only rule to the game is you can say skip, but no one has done that yet. So that's the only rule. And it's just kind of real fast just to wrap up. So Brenda, what's your favorite pizza?
pineapple and ham.
Interesting. All right. Favorite movie or TV show right now?
Ooh, I don't watch TV or movies.
Okay.
I'm like the person that would turn my TV into an aquarium if you could do that with a super slim flat screen.
Got it. Got it.
I guess every time my kids put something on, I will vote for them to watch Making Fun on Netflix. It's like this group of guys that are all a bunch of makers. One guy is good at woodworking. One guy's a good welder. Anyways, they take requests from kids over Zoom on outrageous, stupid stuff to make. And then they
Fun. That sounds fun. Okay. Okay. I like that.
We have rewatched the whole, there's one season of it. I wish they would make more. So anytime the kids are putting on a show in the evening where I'm like also tuning into it with them, that's like, I always vote for that one. I'm like, hey, let's put on Making Fun, guys. It's funny. I follow all the guys that are on the show. I follow them all on Instagram and they continue making cool stuff on Instagram. Hot over there now too. So,
okay. All right. Making Fun. Very nice. Nice big event or next big adventure spot.
Ooh. Okay. Well, we are going to San Diego to stay on our sailboat for Thanksgiving. So that's
fun.
Yeah. It's like our floating vacation house.
I love it. I love it. You've got the RV, you've got the sailboat. Would you rather be in a spaceship, like circling for, exploring space for a week, or would you rather be in a submarine under the sea for a week, exploring under the sea?
Huh. I mean, I always want to be an astronaut, so I think I'm going to lean there. But undersea, like it's whole like separate space.
It is
another like untapped area that we don't even know what's down there.
It's true. Okay, so both.
Well, I think I'm the big picture person, so I would go space.
Okay, space. Most fun Trello board you've been a part of?
The poop wrapping Trello board that I made, yes. I'll be very regular on the Southern Hemisphere.
That's right. All right. I love it. Okay. Would you rather have a permanent mustache and beard that you cannot shave, or would you rather be hot all the time?
Well, I'll be hot. I mean, I wouldn't mind a beard. I always wished when I was a kid that I could have a beard. But I'm like already trying to cycle myself to the moon, and I feel like that would now not happen. I'm born and raised in Arizona, and I am that crazy lizard person that goes outside at 3 p.m. during the summer and like enjoys it. So yeah, hot. I'll take
hot all the time.
Okay.
All right, Brenda, this is awesome.
I have a question for you. Are you coming up with these off the cuff, or do you have a list of them?
I have a list, but I just screwed up the list. So yeah.
Because I could see you just having these on deck all the time, just like off the cuff.
It is my favorite game, Would You Rather? And like, I really love, especially for women who are pretty feminine and whatever, who like, I love the mustache and beard question because people really struggle with it. It's funny.
When I was in high school, I did a bunch of sports in softball, I got hit in the mouth with a softball and it knocked my front tooth loose. And I wasn't sure if I was going to lose my tooth. It went back to regular, but it was always slightly discolored after that because it damaged the nerves. Well, over the years now, like the nerves are slowly like dying off completely. And my whole tooth is like turning gray. And I can know, like when I take pictures and videos, like it kind of looks like a shadow, but then I know like that's not a shadow. I have a gray
I got a dead tooth.
I got a dead tooth. And I've been, my, herbalism ways, I've been like putting stuff on it to try and bring it back to life. And I do think it's working. But before it does that, it's like flushing out even like it's like getting darker before it gets better. So I'm getting sensation back in it. But in the meantime, it's getting darker before like I think it's going to flush it out. Anyways, but I'm like, do I fix my tooth? It's like, when you're a kid, like color in the magazine. I'm like, I gonna like to like have a dark teeth or like should I like if it doesn't fix itself? I don't know. I guess I'll get there when I get there. But that's to the point where like I'm like kind of don't even want to fix a gray tooth.
Okay, would you rather be toothless? And the first one to be visited, I would definitely between two.
Yeah.
All right. Brenda, last question. And I feel like I know the answer to this, but I want to ask it anyway. This kick-ass life that you have got going on that you're living, do you feel like it's by design or by luck?
Absolutely design.
Absolutely design.
Yep. There's no such thing as luck. Luck is what we call the thing that happens to fall in place because we set out for it to happen that way. We make our own luck.
I like it, Brenda. Thank you so much for joining the Live Bright Show. It was so fun having you, of course. All right. Thanks and have an awesome day.
And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Live Bright Show. If you enjoyed this pod, please go to livebrightshow.com to be in the know for new program offerings and podcast releases. Molly has more awesome guests and content coming your way, so you're going to want to be on that list. Also, just because you're still listening, it would be incredible if you could go ahead and subscribe to this podcast and provide the show with a 5-star review. You know how they help. Go forth, have fun, and live bright, friends.